Hi everybody, I'm Jeff Fisher, and today I'm going to be talking to you about using Facebook groups to reconnect teachers and students. First of all, who am I? Obviously, I'm Jeff Fisher. I went to Jackson Community College to receive an associate's in general studies. Went to Siena Heights University, double majored in history and social studies. Was a secondary teaching certificate. Right now I'm a high school teacher teaching U.S., world, and government and economics, and last year I also taught current events. The history of this project, I am currently enrolled at Michigan State University, and I am in their educational technology program. For one of their assignments, it was a kind of our capstone of our first year at Michigan State, was to it was called the Wicked Problem Project, where we had to solve a problem that we had in school, that we saw within our district, using technology. The biggest problem that I see within school districts today is the lack of connection between teachers and students, between some teachers and some students. I think there's a disconnect in terms of what the students want and what the teachers are willing to give them. I see a lot of times it's just a simple lecture style, this teacher-centered classroom, where there's hardly interaction with the student inside the classroom and also outside the classroom. And so my problem the solution to that problem, mine was to use Facebook to try to reconnect the teachers and students again. And when I create my types of assignments and when I do different types of activities inside the classroom, I always put myself in the hands of the student. I always think, if I was a student, what would I want to have in the classroom? What would I really crave? What would be really sweet for me or help me understand this topic that much more? And so I decided to use Facebook, and I thought Facebook would be a really good tool to help me connect with my students outside the classroom, help them learn the material, and at the same time make my lesson fun and engaging. I think that's the biggest part that we are missing from education today, is the idea that education is boring to kids. Let's try to spice it up, and that's my goal, I think, every day, is make this exciting, make this fun, make them laugh, but yet still do it in a professional manner. So you might be asking yourself, well, why did you use Facebook to help reconnect yourself with your students? I could have used Twitter. I could have used Google Docs. Those are all different types of social networking or all types of online forums. I could have used MySpace. And there's probably 1,000 others. Edumoto, I think, is one, or EdTech, something like that. In plain and simple, when I typed in how many users are on Facebook, the answer is pretty simple: 1 billion active users. Now, granted, some of that might be spam but whatever else. And when I poll my students, and when I took a survey of my students after I decided to do this, approximately 85% of my kids have Facebook. And so I thought that was a good way, or a good tool that I could use to connect with them outside the classroom and still help them learn the material. In terms of how I went about this with my administration, I approached my superintendent, my principal, in the summer, and I said, hey, look, man, I want to try something sweet. I want to try to use Facebook inside my classroom. I know you don't want us to use Facebook, but I think it's going to be really cool to kind of use and to try to connect with my students, something fun that we're going to do. And he was totally cool with it. He said, go ahead with it. Let me know how it goes. So I have 100% support. I know in a lot of school districts they have like a web sense or a web block that does not allow you to access Facebook, and ours is pretty lenient. We can do pretty much whatever we want. So I want to try to take you through the process of using or creating the Facebook pages. And so the cool thing about these groups, these Facebook pages here, is that it all stems directly right from your Facebook page. So right now I'm logged in as myself here. And on the left-hand side here, you can see the groups. Okay, these are the groups that I have created. The two underneath, this is one that my friend had just created, and this is the one that my coworker just created because they saw the success that I was having. And so it's right directly linked to your page. So if I wanted to create a group, all I would have to do is underneath groups, hit create group. Okay, I give it a group name, so let's say Mr. Fisher's current events class. Okay, which members? In order to create the group, you would have to add a friend. So I could add one of my friends really quick. And now I can actually create the group. So it'd be good to add a friend first, get the shell, get the inside, get the guts ready before you actually launch it. Now, in terms of open, closed, and secret, I chose a closed one. I didn't want, in terms of open, I didn't want every individual to be able to access my Facebook group. I didn't want to make it secret either, where nobody could really find it. I want to kind of have like a happy medium in between two. And so I chose a closed group. So anyone can see the group and who's in it. Only members see post. So that's the one I chose. So you hit create. The next step is that you get a couple other things that pop up. And eventually you get something that looks like this. Okay, so this is my government class that I have going right now, and that's just a brief rundown. I'll go through all this stuff here in a second. Okay, so that's the creation in the process. Now, I've been asked the question, why create groups over pages? And simply stated, using groups allowed me to have more control over who's looking at my material, who's inside the classroom, than the pages. Pages would be more beneficial if you have a band, if you're an artist, if you're an author, if you're a company, where the user or the person looking at the page simply likes, quote unquote, your page. In terms of a group, you have to join it. So in the upper right hand corner, if you would pass out the link to your students, you simply just have them click join group, and you allow or not allow certain people in. So I'm allowing parents, and I'm also allowing students in, which is beneficial. So that's why I've chosen the groups. Okay, so it's really cool for me to sit here and say that, yeah, using Facebook has been really beneficial, but if I don't provide you any meat and potatoes, if I don't provide you any guts into how it has been successful, this presentation is practically worthless. And so I want to show you a few things that I've did with Facebook as to why it has been beneficial. The number one thing, I think, and I've talked to a few people when I presented this at Michigan State, the thing they thought was the most interesting is you are not friends with your students. So if I were to go back here to my Safari, I suppose, and here this individual student, Grace Reamer, is a part of my Facebook group. If I were to click her page, as you can see, I am not friends with her, nor can she see any of my stuff. That is awesome. Okay, so you're together in the room, but outside the room, you're separate individuals. Second, how many of you have ever heard this? Raise your hands. All right, I see about every single teacher or every single individual out there saying, I have had this happen. Mr. Fisher, I lost the assignment for the 5th time. Can I have another? No, you cannot. You know why? Because you can go onto the Facebook page. All right, so here I'm in my world history class. All right, and I'll take you to my world history. This would be the front page. No, you can't have it, Johnny. You know why? Because if you go to my Facebook page and if you hover over files and you click files, here are all the files that I have posted. Here are the PowerPoints, little Johnny, that you can get the notes from. Here is the review sheet that's due tomorrow, little Johnny. Here's the test review sheet. So it's a good online file storage. Okay, I've even put my content expectations on here, my syllabus, maps, PowerPoints, documents, pictures, PDF files. It seems like Facebook is pretty accessible to every type of file extension. So again, make the student more responsible for their work. File storage. How many people have heard this? Actually, a student came to me today. Mr. Fisher, sorry, I've been gone in Florida for 5 days. Have we did anything in class? No, we haven't did anything, Johnny. We have sat here on our hands and did nothing. All right. The cool thing about using the Facebook groups is that when you go and log into the actual Facebook page, here is a list of everything that I have been doing in class. You know, I wrote something to my kids, hope you're enjoying your break. Do we know all the Renaissance people are the ones that we did in just the notes today? So there was a quiz. Here I'm letting the kids know that there's a quiz. So in case they're gone, they can reference to the Facebook page and see that this stuff is right there for you to go get. You need to be responsible and go get it. It's not my fault that you were not here in class. Okay? So again, make the child more responsible. And this is just another example of some things that I have posted here. This one here is related to a project, a presidential poplet project. This one's related to a review sheet. This one's related to a reading packet that they were to read. And you can see that the students some of the students respond to it. Another thing I want you to notice is that even though students do not comment on the statuses, you can tell who is looking at it. So if I were to hover my icon over this, let me get you a good one right here. Hover my icon over this, seen by 35, it brings up everybody who's seen it. So if you put a file on there and little Johnny says, oh, I didn't see it, you can hover over that and you can say, wow, Johnny, it looks like you saw this post. Gotcha. And this is something else that a teacher of mine who had started to be, or who began using these Facebook groups had said to me, who would have ever thought that students would be wanting to learn more about history outside of school? And that's true. I think history really kind of has a negative twist to it. Some old dude in front of the school or in front of the classroom that's talking about old people and deaths and old dudes and dead presidents and yeah. So now that when I post things online, I'm getting discussion back. At creating this open environment, again, reconnecting the students inside the classroom, also with outside the classroom. A good refresher. And even if they're not responding to the post, at least they're seeing it. They're visible. They're conscious of what's going on. And I think that's really cool. I think that was a really sweet quote that she had said to me. Another kind of cool thing is just an online discussion board. And this is kind of an example of an online discussion board here. This was for a test review sheet. So they had to do this test review sheet before the test, obviously. And this girl was confused on a question. And she wrote, what's it mean on the test review about Julius Caesar? What territory did he gain? And I just wrote a response there. Now, if I wouldn't have had wrote that response, this first one you see here, this student was already on top of it, responding to her question. So I really didn't do anything. I just set up the class. The student asked the question. Another student responded. Okay, so pretty neat how students are interacting with one another without my assistance. This is another one here. I said we're covering the Black Death. What fascinates you most about the plague? And so here I see right now, and this is just a small screen capture. I have this lady here. 1, 2, 3. 3 girls are interacting, and you can tell that they're kind of getting into it. It's pretty sweet. But then also, here are those sideliners right here. The people who are seeing it, but they might be, quote unquote, too cool to comment on it. Okay, this is another one. I did an online thing with the presidential debates, and we did a debate tonight. Who's pumped, who's jacked up, and so these people said, YOLO, you only live once. It's the teenager thing. This guy's excited. This girl just posted that she's excited as well. And again, here we have all these people who might be excited, who might be pumped up, who are not really discussing. Again, reconnecting the student, making them aware of what's happening inside your class, and connecting it also with the outside. The thing that highlights my biggest success that I've had so far on Facebook was the presidential debate. It was by far the craziest and most awesome thing that I've ever did in teaching. And it was just kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing. I saw an assistant professor at Michigan State do a Twitter feed with his advanced placement U.S. history, APUSH kids, and I decided to do the same thing. And I make my kids do community service hours for government. They had to have 10 hours by the end of the semester, kind of give back to the community. And I said I would knock off an hour for every presidential debate that they decided that they wanted to interact with. And this is what I received. Over the 3 presidential debates and the 1 vice presidential debate, or whatever, it was 2 and 1, I forget right now. I had a total over 2,000 messages were sent between parents and students and teacher. There were 3 or 5 parents involved. It was really cool to have the parents involved because they kind of gave us younger kids, us younger men and women, a different type of perspective, a different look on some of these opinions. I also had 10 to 15 active students. I mean, students who are always there commenting. 20-ish sideliners, those kids who are kind of looking at it. I had 3 teachers. I invited 2 teachers to kind of join because they were kind of cool. They were kind of, I guess, curious as to what I was talking about in the teacher's lounge or something. And 2 who weren't even in my classes. 2 students who had found out about this who said, Mr. Fisher, hey, we want to get involved in this. This sounds really sweet. Okay. I mean, of the 2,000 messages, they're teenagers here. Not all of it was relative to presidential debate. I don't really care. As long as they're there, as long as they're learning and discussing, that is so sweet. What other tool have we had, people, that allows us to do this thing? Nothing. Okay. Another kind of sweet thing here is that I'm going paperless to a point. We're not one-to-one with iPads or desktops, so it makes it a little bit difficult. It's more time-consuming, I believe. But there are times when we do use Web 2.0 tools, and I just have them copy and paste over the link. And instead of sending it to my email or putting it on a folder on our server on our server here at school, students can upload their own assignments right to the website. So all they do is copy the link, paste it as a status, and there it is. So here we go. We have this girl, and she's one of those girls who not very outgoing, likes to keep to herself. Her grades are wish-washy. However, you throw her on the computer, you throw her where she's comfortable, you throw her online where she's good with her friends and she likes to socialize, and she takes off. So here we go. She uploaded her assignment right here. All I could do is just easily click on it. One click, I look at it, grade it, boom, I'm done. And then she says, just like you said, because I said, Jacqueline, you better put this assignment online today. She said, all right, just like you said. I said, good job. And again, reconnecting the student. She didn't have internet at home. She had to get on here at school after hours and upload it. Awesome. Okay. Another kind of cool thing here is that not only can you do text, but you can also upload videos. A lot of my government kids, we do a lot of videos, a lot of reenactments, and also with U.S. history classes. And I was just getting to the point where I have some flip cams, and I was just getting sick and tired of having to myself plug the flip cam in, upload the document, maybe change the file extension, change the file format, and maybe even actually lose the document or lose the video because I screwed up. What I do now is I simply have the kids use their cell phones in classrooms, videotape the skit, upload it to Facebook, boom, done. I don't have to do anything. And then all I have to do is open the Facebook page, click on the play button, and we're rocking and rolling. I mean, that's sweet. Okay, I've kind of already discussed pictures and videos. One thing I like to do is I like to take pictures of my kids as they're acting stuff out, as they're doing things in the classroom. And I think I think personally that students enjoy seeing themselves in pictures and videos because they feel more appreciated. If the teacher took the time to take the picture of them, doing the work and seeing themselves later, they appreciate it. They like that stuff. They think it's pretty neat. Okay, here's another example. We did a amendment style speed dating. Okay, so each of the kids, you can see they're lined up in rows here. Each of the kids had a particular amendment, and with that amendment, they had to try to convince the other amendments to date them. All right, so they had to show the other amendments who they were, and at the end, we tried to figure out which amendment was the most popular, or which amendment was the one that the kids preferred. Don't get caught up with this kid wearing a shell brassiere. It was School Spirit Week. Okay, now, I think the important thing about education is that, in order to make the kids connect to your learning a little bit better, you got to be personal with them to an extent. Still keep that professional level, but you need to talk about things other than just schoolwork. And so what I did is I decided to just start posting random things about, what's going on in life just besides school. Again, trying to create that relationship with the student, try to reconnect them with me. And this one here, I had just put some football picks up here. This is the day that bloody Notre Dame beat Michigan. Go Blue, by the way. And so, we had a couple kids responding, but a couple kids over here that you can tell were still kind of peeking at it. Another thing is the fair was in town. What's the best thing at the fair that I should check out? And here we got 7 comments plus these 2. So a total of 9 and 23 total saw it. And this is an example here where I had to kind of regulate what was being said. Some student wrote, the best thing to look at the fair is the girls. It's a teenager. It comes with the territory, I know, but I just deleted it. And I just said, hey, man, what's up with that? And he goes, I was just trying to be funny. No big deal, whatever. But again, interacting with the student. Okay. One of my biggest goals was, yes, to reconnect teacher and student, but my second goal that I had for this project was to try to influence others. And I've been quite successful at that. If I were to go back over here, to my Facebook page, Mrs. Cook is a teacher here at the school district that I work in. Mr. George is a friend of mine from Siena Heights, where I went to school with, and so he's taken off with it. Also, Mr. Follis, which you can kind of see over here. Mr. Follis here at the bottom decided that he wanted to create a page, and you can see how here you like the page. You don't join the page, okay? So he kind of wanted everybody to see. I think now, though, after I've talked to him a little bit about it, he wished he could have more regulation on who could see his page. Okay. Now, with the good comes the bad, obviously. All the glitters is not gold. And so I did have some struggles. Obviously, Mein Kampf, Hitler's, I guess. Hitler's the one who coined it to be the most famous. My struggles. What am I struggling with? And there's just a few things. One is organization with the group. Sometimes it can get a little sloppy, but I have learned how to kind of keep it a little bit more organized. If you do post something, usually it goes from newest post all the way down to oldest post, just like it would on your news feed. And things... So, for example, if a student here were to post, if they posted here, this post, this status would automatically jump to the top. So everything underneath the students might not see. Okay. So what you can do is that once you post something, if you hover over it and then hit pin, that post will automatically stay at the top. So no matter what I post now, this post here, this beautiful printing press, coined by Gutenberg himself, will always stay at the top. Okay, but sometimes it can get a little sloppy with all this jazz down here. Okay, grammar versus interaction. This is a really tough one and something that I'm still struggling with today. And when I presented this at MSU, it was probably the most heated problem that I had. There was differing opinions on what should be my role as the teacher. There's an individual who believed that my goal was to have students interact and my goal was to influence others. And since I achieved it, the grammar really wasn't as important. I understand that and I respect that, but I feel like I'm a teacher. I should be creating more well-rounded students, and grammar is by far one of the most important things that I try to push personally in my history classes. And so you get a lot of sloppy writing sometimes, no punctuation, no capitalization, just not really good writing. And I definitely don't want that. Okay, so I don't know really what to do yet. Okay, and I'm still struggling with that. Another thing is making it a grade. Not all my students have the Facebook group, so I can't say, okay, everybody has to respond today on the assignment, because not everybody has it. Now I know I can offer alternatives, tell the kids in class what they're supposed to respond to. That way they're still learning. That way they're still interacting. I would like to have every student involved on the Facebook group. However, parents are a little iffy for kids having Facebook. Okay. Finally, I believe, oops, sorry. Okay, finally, is having the Facebook, is it increasing retention? Are the kids learning more stuff? Are they becoming more responsible? Are they more organized? And I really do not know. I don't know if I'm really spending a lot more time on this than what I really actually want to do. I just don't know, and nor do I have the answer for that yet. And so I'm still struggling with the issue. I still don't know really what to do. If I could have every kid on it, if I could, force every kid to go on and get a document, if I force them to respond to everything, I could possibly answer yes. But I can't say that that's necessarily true. Okay, so I think what you've seen so far is that you've seen a lot of successes. There are some definite struggles of using Facebook. It's worth a shot. I mean, education is all about making mistakes. Try something. If it works, cool. If not, oh well. You just wasted an hour of your time. No big deal. So try the Facebook groups. If you have any question, my contact information was here at the top. Here's my email address down here at the bottom. If you ever want to call or present a presentation, feel free to. But I think if you give Facebook a chance, it will work. Okay. Thanks for your time. I appreciate you. Excuse me. Hit me up on Twitter down here if you have any questions as well. And I appreciate your time, and thank you for listening to my presentation. Ciao.